Hey everybody, this is our second video looking at Native Americans as part of our summer assignment. So a big question looking here is who was here when the explorers, the Europeans, arrived? So a couple big questions we're going to ask here. First off is how many people were here? What are the regions? And we're doing a little project as well when you guys get in here. Probably the second day of school this year, a little project to do some research looking at different Native American groups that existed here is kind of see how they change and how they help Europeans change as well during their time in America. So starting off, circa 1450, one of the best numbers we have in the now United States. We're talking between 1 and 1.5 million Native Americans. As we go into South America and other areas, those numbers are all varied. I've seen a lot of different numbers. In the Caribbean, there may be as many as 1 million Taino Native Americans who Christopher Columbus met in 1492. So obviously, Native Americans look at all around the United States, in different surrounding, different areas. There are over 250 different tribal groups that we know of that existed here in the United States that have been identified as unique tribal groups. Also, there are over 300 different languages. Now, a lot of those languages don't exist today. Some of them are dead. Some of them are dead languages that have been are gone due to policies in the United States and languages dying out and culture dying out. Some groups fight very, very hard to keep the language. From my own personal experience, the Menominee Nation, which is near where I grew up, at one point there was less than 10, less than 20 people that were speaking Menominee at one point, and now it's the tribe puts importance on learning the language and sharing the language. So there's kind of interesting to look at, just what is here before Europeans get here. We see the regions here of where Native Americans are found, and you kind of see this here. So you have the northwest over here. So northwest of California, kind of this whole Pacific region kind of goes together here. Anything basically west of the Rockies, we're talking over this way. Okay, the southwest going to halfway through Texas up into the deserts, kind of the border of Utah, New Mexico, Colorado, those areas up here, Nevada, we're talking there is part of the Great Basin area. The plains out here, border up to the Mississippi River up to Rocky Mountains. We also have the northeast woodland Native American tribes, so starting with Wisconsin, Mississippi going east, and also the southeastern tribes inhabiting, the Alabama, Georgia, Florida kind of area to kind of break those regions down. So the Northwest, kind of talk a little bit about different groups that are here. Northwest, so modern-day Washington State, Oregon, California. Tribes are very organized, villages. A lot of times living off fishing was a big idea. Salmon fishing, especially on the Columbian River, we're talking the Chinook tribe along the Columbian River is a big part of it. Use eat salmon in the summertime, dry it for winter. A lot of different ceremonies are involved in the Northwest, so a huge trade network. There's evidence of trade going from northwestern areas, modern-day Washington, to Wisconsin. It involved Hickston. It was a Hickston sandstone is what it was. It was a sandstone that they noted where the stone came from, and it's only found one place, Hickston, Wisconsin. That's over in Jackson County area, a little northwest of here, and that they found that rock out in Washington State. And so they know there's a trade network happening across these areas. They show the trade. There's something called potlatch, which was a big ceremony of wealth. And also is where you have the idea of totem poles came with the northwestern Native Americans. You see a totem pole. I have an example in the previous slide here. You can see that area right there. And it's some more to look at and read about as you kind of start going through your materials, the northwestern tribes. The Great Plains, looking at, going up to Montana, Wyoming, up into Canada, northern border, Dakotas, all the way down to Texas. Being hunter-gatherers, living off the land, what they could find. The main food there on the plains was buffalo. Before Europeans get here, they're pretty hard to hunt because there's no horses yet. So you can't keep up with those big animals. Plus, those animals are really big, very easily stampede a person. So I think that they would chase them off cliffs, chase them into gullies, those kind of things to kill the buffalo there. And that's not until Europeans get here, Spanish get here, that horses become a big part of Great Plains Native American lifestyle we think of in movies and that kind of stuff. The Great Plains, the only Native Americans live in teepees. So here's the traditional teepee, using buffalo skin, and able to live inside that little conical-shaped tent. Being semi-nomadic, moving around a lot, following the game, and eventually getting the horses that we see in terms of all the artwork and all that kind of stuff. The horses come much later from the Spanish. So So that's kind of a big thing to remember is that originally they were on foot, so using anything they could, especially dogs actually was the way they moved a lot of material. But yeah, this teepee was a portable tent that you could move around very easily, but it wasn't until the horse came around that we kind of get the idea of chasing buffalo, those kind of things. So, and the Southwest, so Southern California over to Texas, through in Mexico, it's a desert area, so hunt and gather everything, bison, plants, bugs. Some were farmers, so the Hopi tribe, especially farmers growing corn, squash, and beans, the Three Sisters as they're called. Living in villages with adobe. So this is an early 20th century picture. We can have the adobe with mud huts, so you use mud plus straw as a binder, and it kind of keeps the mud together. Other tribes built cliff houses, so house into the cliffs using mud and brick, those kind of things. Building near rivers, using irrigation for crops, and also using pottery as a big way to kind of move crops, move food, move those kind of things. So you have an example of the pottery of the Pueblo down here. So all these ideas, pottery, irrigation, farming, adobe being big parts of the southwestern American culture. Northeast woodlands, so east coast up through Wisconsin over here, down to about the Arkansas border. Hunters-gatherers, for the most part, did some farming. Added to the food supply, but using stone, copper tools have been found here as well. In fact, there are a lot of copper tools that have been found in Wisconsin area. Letting you use stone tools for woodworking, so using canoes out of birch bark, using a lot of woodwork kind of to make tools, using canoes on the rivers, those kind of things. You see a lot of small villages. So actually, where we live in Sauk Prairie, here's one of the largest villages in the Sauk tribe. In 1766, there might have been upwards of 10,000 Native Americans living on the Sauk Prairie Plains. If you go into Oaklawn, the Oakmeyer Park, or Oakmeyer Grove Park, whatever it's called, you can even see the farming, these little raised fields for crops, and you can actually see those still at Oak Grove Meyer Park of where in little villages where food was being grown. So these little villages were a big part, and where we live is one of the biggest villages. You did see two big groups in the eastern woodlands, so the Iroquois and the Algonquin. They're essentially two language families. So there were 5 Iroquois tribes, the Cuyahoga, Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Seneca, going from upstate New York over into Ohio. Eventually, 2 of the tribes move out here later on. And the Algonquin was located more up into Canada. In this area, a lot of Algonquin language. So it's a language family. So they're individual languages. So you could be Menominee, Chippewa, Ojibwa, Sauk, so on and so forth. But they all belong to one Algonquin family. And so you kind of saw, the two sides, fight a little bit because of, competition for resource, competition for land, all those kind of things came as a role in that. And later on, we started to see where they're being pitted against each other between the French and the British as they start moving in here too. In the Southwest, Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, hunter-gatherers, farmers, tribes like the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, Cherokee, later on the Seminole that develops out of those later on. Hunter-gatherers, farmers again, very advanced system of courts. It's interesting to look at as they change and move on, very advanced government, including the Cherokee making their own alphabet, their own government, and their own alphabet, those kind of things to work, and later on being first ones being moved out of their area officially by the government. And so we're kind of seeing some areas where we do a project with us in class, a little research, and we're also looking at the idea of social organization within the different areas. So everything's different from tribe to tribe, area to area. So some families rely on patrilineage, some on matrilineage. So some tribes, all property, all power goes through the father's side. In some tribes, it all goes through the mother's side, depending on what tribe you're in. So something to look at when we do our project later on. Division labor, who does the work? In some tribes, men, some tribes, it's women. And certain jobs are assigned to certain people, and it's kind of traditional from tribe to tribe. Also, very tribe to tribe, those kind of things. Slavery is a big part too. There was slavery in the Americas prior to African slavery, and so there was slavery in terms of the Americans as well. So we'll take a look at all these ideas. A little project when we start school up, so it's kind of a little way to start this off. Thanks a lot for checking us out, guys. I'll see you all September, I think it's 9th, I think, if I remember right. Check my calendar here. I think it's September 9th. We'll see you guys ready to work and ready to go through all these different topics. September 9th it is. That's all I got, guys. If you got any questions, email me. I appreciate it. Moose out. See you guys later.